The Zarn Dominion had conquered over 70 star systems in the last 50 years. Their fleet, an ever-growing armada of black steel and plasma fire, had broken empires, devoured resistance, and enslaved species. When the scouts discovered Earth, an isolated blue planet on the fringe of Sector 9, the High Council barely discussed it. Another weak race, another primitive species. It wouldn't even require a full armada. Just a moderate fleet to make an example. High Warlord Krex viewed the mission as a formality. The humans had no known interstellar presence, no warships recorded, no alliances. Just electromagnetic noise, scattered orbital satellites, and what appeared to be a single moon based decades behind galactic tech. He sneered as he reviewed the data. They hadn't even tried to hide their communications. This wasn't war. It was cleanup. By the time the invasion fleet entered Earth's system, all contact from the initial scouting probe had been lost. That was the first oddity. Krex waved it off. These old probes often malfunctioned near magnetic planets. There were 24 warships in the fleet, each armed with energy cannons, graviton bombs, and boarding drones. The flagship, Tyrant's Hand, boasted hull plating 5 meters thick and a reactor core stolen from a collapsed star. Their sensors lit up with Earth satellites, harmless, spinning relics of a primitive species. No shields, no defensive stations, no fleet, just a quiet blue sphere turning slowly under its sun. Krex ordered the fleet into position. The invasion would begin in stages. First, they'd send a show of force, destroy a few satellites, level a remote area, let the humans understand who now ruled their skies. Then they'd descend and announce Dominion control. The orders were sent. Plasma lances fired. The satellites, hundreds of them, were vaporized in a blink. That's when Earth responded. There was no delay, no message, no surrender, just a signal. From deep within Earth's crust, a burst of data surged into space. Encrypted, high frequency, not of any known Dominion pattern. Krex stared at it, confused. Before his tech officers could analyze the signal, something appeared. It wasn't detected entering from a jump gate. It didn't match any drive signature. It simply arrived. A single warship. It shimmered into existence behind Jupiter, cloaked in gravimetric distortion, then surged forward. No warning, no communication. Black as obsidian, with glowing crimson veins along its hull, it looked less like a ship and more like a creature bred for war. Sensors scrambled to identify it. No match. Weapons targeted it. No lock. Before Krex could issue new commands, the human ship opened fire. The nearest Zarn destroyer exploded. Not crippled, destroyed. A clean, instantaneous detonation. No energy buildup, no visible projectile. Just a flicker of light, and then it was gone. The fleet panicked. How? How did it do that? Shrieked one of the sensor officers. Krex ordered all ships to fire. But the human ship moved like nothing the Zarn had ever seen. It blinked, literally blinked, between positions in space. One moment, it was 10 kilometers away. The next, it was above them. Then below. Then behind. Each time it reappeared, another Zarn warship died. Its weapons weren't traditional. No plasma, no visible beams. Just black holes of destruction, like pieces of space itself were vanishing around it. One ship was crushed from the inside out. Another seemed to melt before their eyes. The Tyrant's Hand took a direct hit to its shielding. The impact didn't destroy it, but systems across the ship shorted. Half the crew was thrown from their posts. Krex snarled and slammed his fist against the command chair. What is that thing? No answer came. Only static. Then a voice. Not Zarn. Not any known galactic language. Translated by the ship's universal processors, it came in clear, male, and cold. You were warned. This planet is under our protection. Flee, or be erased. Krex screamed in rage and ordered a suicide ram. 4 warships turned to rush the human vessel. None made it. In the silence that followed, 10 ships had been destroyed, 3 disabled, and the rest were retreating. Krex's flagship was burning, its core unstable, its systems failing. He stared at the human ship on the screen, and scathed, unmoving now, like a predator watching the remnants of its hunt. One of the junior officers, bleeding and pale, asked the question no one wanted to voice. High Warlord, if that's just one ship, how many do they have? No one answered. Earth had been defenseless just minutes ago. Now it stood guarded by something none of them could understand, let alone fight. And far beyond the system, listening posts in Dominion space had picked up the battle data. Galactic Command watched the feeds, and they were afraid. The Zarn fleet's return was a mess of broken ships, wounded pride, and frightened whispers. Out of 24 warships, only 11 limped back through the jump gate, some held together by emergency welding bots and prayer. The High Council gathered in silence as Warlord Krex stood before them, burned, armor cracked, his once commanding presence dimmed. They had one ship, Krex growled. Just one, and it annihilated us. The chamber murmured in disbelief. Warlord Tirith leaned forward, voice skeptical. Impossible. We have crushed empires, broken entire systems. You mean to tell us these humans, primitive, unsanctioned, unarmed, repel the Dominion invasion? Krex slammed his metal fist into the podium. I saw it. You think I would flee otherwise? Their ship defied physics. It moved without propulsion. It attacked with weapons that left no trace. We didn't lose a battle. We were hunted. That silenced the room. For the first time in decades, a Zarn High warlord admitted retreat. But Krex wasn't finished. He raised a projection from his chest plate, broadcasting the intercepted message Earth sent out after the fight. The words echoed through the chamber. This is Sentinel-1. Earth remains under sovereign protection. Let this serve as notice to all galactic powers. Further hostile action will be met with equal or greater force. No further warnings will be issued. Sentinel-1? A counselor asked. That's what the ship called itself, Krex muttered. If there's a 1, there could be more. That simple line sent a wave of fear through the chamber. What if that ship had been a prototype? A test? What if Earth had an entire fleet of those things? The council dissolved into argument. Some demanded a second invasion with full force. Others shouted them down, calling for investigation, diplomacy, even isolation. And above them all, the unspoken truth loomed. They didn't understand what they had faced. That terrified them. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, word spread like plasma fire. The Yovari Syndicate, rulers of the black market trade routes, issued a universal bounty. Bring data on the human warship. Any data, even a whisper. The Arcane Matriarchy suspended its long-standing policy of technological superiority and sent envoys toward the Sol system. The Krell Confederacy, once laughing at humans as a soft species, pulled its war fleets from nearby sectors. But it wasn't just the governments reacting. On space stations and deep space freighters, smugglers and mercenaries retold the story. An ancient race tried to touch Earth, and Earth sent a ghost to rip out their heart. Some said it wasn't a ship at all, but a living weapon. Others claimed it was AI-controlled, built by humans long gone. But all agreed on one thing. Humanity wasn't what they expected. On a hidden moon outpost, deep inside Dominion territory, a message blinked to life. A figure stepped into the dark chamber to read it. Tall, cloaked, with 4 mechanical arms and eyes that glowed like dying suns. It was known only as the Archivist. The message was simple. Sentinel-1 has engaged. Earth stands. Proceed with caution. The Archivist stared for several minutes, unmoving, then opened a long-sealed chamber. Inside rested hundreds of old star maps, war records, and a shattered piece of obsidian black hull plating, a relic from an age-long past. After all this time, the Archivist whispered, "They're waking up." Back on Earth, the situation was eerily calm. Civilians remained unaware. News outlets reported a solar flare incident that disrupted some satellite services. Governments played along, burying the footage under firewalls and private channels. But in underground bunkers and orbital stations, military leaders reviewed what had happened with a mix of awe and dread. General Layla Monroe, commander of Earth's Defense Accord, stood before a council of representatives from every major nation-state. Her face was stone, her words clipped. Project Sentinel was never meant to be used. It was a deterrent, a last resort ghost fleet. But the moment that Zarn fleet entered orbit and fired on our satellites, Sentinel-1 activated autonomously. And it handled 24 ships? One representative asked in disbelief. Not just handled, she replied. It dismantled them. Another voice, this time from the European Alliance delegate. Are you telling us Earth has more than one of these ships? General Monroe didn't answer directly. We're activating contingency protocols. There will be more incursions. The galaxy has noticed us now. And while Sentinel-1 delivered a message, it also painted a target on our back. And the humans themselves? Asked the Pacific Coalition rep. Do we tell them? Monroe paused. When the time is right. Outside Earth's atmosphere, in the shadow of the moon, Sentinel-1 hovered in silence. Unmanned, semi-sentient, and ancient even by human standards, its systems pulsed with renewed energy. Deep inside its core, something awoke, something old, something forged during the final days of a war Earth never told the galaxy about. It scanned the stars, calculated probabilities, logged Dominion response times, and waited, because Sentinel-1 wasn't alone. Far beneath the frozen crust of Europa, hidden under miles of reinforced ice and disguised geothermal activity, Facility 03 stirred for the first time in decades. The moment Sentinel-1 activated, signals routed through encrypted subspace lines, waking hibernating systems built for a war that had never come, until now. A figure stepped into the command chamber, clad in obsidian black armor, its face hidden beneath a smooth, reflective visor. It stood silent before the central console. The chamber lights flickered to life, scanning its DNA and verifying voice recognition. Commander Alexei Voss, the system spoke. Status, reactivated. Welcome back. Voss exhaled slowly. He looked older, wearier than the records last stored by the system. But the fire in his eyes remained. The kind of fire only soldiers forged in extinction wars carried. Status report, he ordered. The AI began. Sentinel-1 activated. Single hostile fleet engaged. Result, neutralized. Secrecy breach probability, 72%. Galactic traffic rerouting around Sol system. Risk of secondary contact, high. Voss stared at the holomap displaying the outer rim of the galaxy. Entire sectors blinked red. Then it begins, he muttered. Just like the simulations. He turned to the rows of cryopods behind him. Soldiers lay inside, perfectly preserved. The last line of defense Earth had kept hidden not just from the galaxy, but from itself. Wake the first 6 units. Bring their minds online. If Dominion sends scouts, I want us ready to intercept before they even reach Saturn. Confirmed, the AI responded. Authorization, Omega Protocol is now active. Elsewhere, across space, the fear continued to spread. In the Darek cluster, a merchant vessel picked up a human signal where no signal should have been. The freighter captain, once a war veteran, listened to the distorted voice, barely a whisper under cosmic static. To those watching, we see you. The ship rerouted instantly and jumped to light speed, abandoning its cargo and crew morale in the same breath. In the neutral city world of Varric Prime, galactic ambassadors met in secret. What began as a Security Council hearing became a crisis summit. We must act before Earth becomes the new galactic power, said the Drovian Chancellor. They've hidden their weapons. Lied to us. Played dead until they could strike. They haven't struck anything that wasn't a threat, countered the Vrexary emissary. They're still on one planet. If they wanted conquest, they'd already be marching. Or they're waiting until we're weak. Arguments broke out, words devolving into threats. Then someone brought up a chilling point. What if Sentinel-1 isn't human-made? What if it's something they found? That silenced everyone. Because history had records, fragmented, classified records, of long-lost civilizations, of dark machines drifting in the void, of ancient weapons that didn't obey known physics. And Earth was a young world, a forgotten world, a world tucked into a quiet spiral arm where such things could easily hide. Back on Earth, General Monroe stood inside Orbital Command Station Aegis, staring out at the stars. Her aide approached with a grim expression. We've confirmed 7 factions have rerouted their fleets away from Sol. She nodded. And 3 have rerouted them towards Sol. She turned, jaw set. We expected this. But General, we still don't know what Sentinel-1 really is. It was built, yes, but it thinks. It adapted to battle conditions without input. Some systems didn't even come from our known tech branches. That's because it predates the Accord, Monroe replied quietly. The aide froze. What? She motioned for the walls to seal, activating full blackout. There was a war, long before the current governments rose. A war we buried so deep even our own archives barely remember. Sentinel-1 was part of that. It's not just a weapon. It's a reminder. A reminder of what? That Earth doesn't lose quietly. and that when we build for survival, we don't plan for today. We plan for extinction and beyond. The aide stood silently, processing the truth. And now the galaxy's waking that version of us up, Monroe said. They thought Earth was soft, fragile, human. What they forgot is what we became the last time someone tried to wipe us out. On the edge of Sol System, 3 stealth scouts breached the Kuiper Belt. Small, fast, designed to avoid detection and gather data. They belonged to the Jarn Dominion, a different faction than the Zarn, but equally ambitious. They approached carefully, powered down, avoiding signal transmission. They never saw what hit them. Somewhere beyond Neptune, a ripple in space twisted and tore. A flash of light, then nothing. 3 empty spaces where ships used to be. The data never arrived. The Dominion marked them lost to anomaly. But Earth knew. Sentinel-2 had woken. In a hangar bay beneath the Antarctic ice, engines roared to life. They were coming. And this time, humanity wasn't just reacting. They were preparing to answer. From the outside, Earth remained still. No great fleets were deployed. No broadcasts were made. No threats. No statements. The planet simply turned, blue and green, and clouded in silence. And that silence screamed louder than any declaration of war. Orbiting above, the Aegis Command Station tracked every movement beyond Mars. General Monroe watched the tactical display shift as new fleets entered fringe range, probing, testing, retreating the moment long-range weapons calibrated on them. Status of Sentinel-2? She asked. Operational. In stealth. For confirmed interdictions of foreign probes in the past 30 hours. No survivors. And Sentinel-1? In position near Europa. Standing by. She folded her arms. Good. They're watching us now. Let them. On the other side of the galaxy, the Jarn Dominion was in chaos. High Executor Bravok slammed a metal fist onto the war table, cracking its surface. Holograms glitched as sparks burst from overloaded relays. You assured me Earth was backward. Isolated, that it had no capacity for Star War. His science officer, drenched in sweat and shame, barely met his gaze. It was true. Until recently, their technologies were stagnant. By choice, we now believe. They disguised progress as limitation. Then how did they eliminate 3 scout vessels without so much as a signal? No one answered. Because there was no answer. Except the terrifying possibility that Earth didn't just build weapons. They built ghosts. Machines designed not only to kill, but to erase. Still, Bravok was not one to yield to fear. He gave the order. Ready the Whisper fleet. No more probes. No more games. I want Earth observed at molecular resolution. From the inside out. The Whisper fleet moved. Cloaked, quantum-shielded, and manned by the Dominion's best infiltration specialists. They made their way toward the Sol System with a mission no other fleet had dared attempt. And as they approached, Earth waited. Not idle, not unaware, but ready. Inside Facility 03, Commander Voss walked among awakened soldiers, battle-suited men and women with eyes colder than Europa's ice. These were not ordinary troops. They were chosen centuries ago, during the last extinction cycle. Enhanced, conditioned, buried in cryo for a war the public never knew existed. Listen up, Voss said, voice carrying through the barracks like a gunshot. They're coming again. Whisper-class infiltration units. High stealth, low engagement profiles. Extermination? One soldier asked. Voss shook his head. Not yet. Earth wants them to see what they're up against. Then we let them go. The troopers didn't flinch. They understood. The best message was not a destroyed ship. It was a survivor. Shaking. Broken. Bearing warnings no one would believe. On the moon, a deep space telescope facility received a ghost signal. Data fragments from a Jarn scout lost near Neptune. Most of it was corrupt, static, and digital screaming. But a single image remained. A human face, calm and armored, standing amid the wreckage of a starship. And behind him, a black triangular object blotting out the stars. The technician forwarded the image to command. Within an hour, 42 different agencies across Earth had a copy. By hour 2, none spoke of it again. It was already buried. But the world knew. Not through news. Not through speech. Through unease. Something had changed. People felt it in the weather. In the way birds flew. In the strange movements of whales. In the nightmares that plagued the minds of those closest to the coasts. And though Earth was silent, its skies buzzed with activity. Low orbit was filled with shadow satellites, sensor arrays, defense grids that had once been disguised as communication systems. Civilian drones, now reprogrammed for planetary defense, soared across cities unnoticed. Because this was Earth's strength, not overwhelming force, but the ability to prepare while pretending not to. The Whisper fleet arrived in Sol space and was immediately confused. They detected no military buildup, no planetary lockdown. Earth's traffic continued as normal. Civilian flights, satellite adjustments, even children in space camps conducting zero-G maneuvers in orbit. It didn't add up. They moved closer. Within the upper thermosphere, one of their vessels deployed a microprobe designed to descend undetected and land in the Pacific. It never reached the water. Instead, it vanished the moment it pierced the ozone layer. Seconds later, alarms sounded aboard every Whisper vessel. Then came the transmission. A simple message, broadcast directly into their bridge interfaces. "We see you, and you are not ready." Panic spread among the Dominion ships. Their navigators tried to jump to FTL, but found coordinates scrambled. Star maps were wrong. Gravitational calibrations shifted. It was like the entire Sol system had turned against them. Then, slowly, every screen aboard the Whisper fleet blinked. A single human face appeared again. Same as in the ghost image. Only now he spoke. "You crossed the line. You tried to enter the lion's den without understanding the price. Leave, or be unmade." 3 ships turned immediately. One hesitated. It disappeared 3 seconds later. The others escaped. But what they brought back was worse than death. They spoke of weapons that moved between quantum states, of being watched by machines that dreamed, of a planet that had built itself into a fortress while pretending to be a sanctuary. The Dominion paused its advance. Others watched from afar, debating, dreading, and Earth remained silent. But every eye in the galaxy was now on that one quiet world. Because if Earth was this dangerous defending itself, what would happen when it stopped defending and started expanding? In the wake of the Whisper fleet's retreat, silence fell over the stars again. But it wasn't peace. It was fear. Galactic governments met in hidden conclaves. War councils convened in panic. Empires that had once measured victory in burned planets now sat in uneasy quiet, watching Earth from behind distant moons and dead stars. Because the humans didn't pursue. They didn't retaliate. They simply waited. That frightened the galaxy more than any counterattack. Inside the Andari Confederation's primary archive hall, Elder Advisor Corrin paced before a wall of star charts. His aides watched nervously as he muttered calculations, tapping points on the map. "They're not reacting like any known species," he whispered. "They're not posturing, not retaliating, not even deploying fleets." "Do you think they're afraid?" one aide asked. Corrin turned sharply. "No, they're calculating. Every move so far has been precise. Hidden strength, controlled escalation. They're showing us just enough. Then what happens next?" Corrin hesitated. "They'll speak." He was right. Because that very day, a single signal emerged from Earth. Not a weapon, not a ship, a message. It came through every channel, military, civilian, diplomatic. It translated into every known language within seconds. This was humanity's voice, delivered through an AI so advanced that it resonated with artificial minds as if it were alive. The message was simple. "You've tested Earth. Now listen." The voice continued, calm and clear. "We have watched this galaxy burn for millennia, watched empires rise on slavery, watched your wars spill across systems like disease. We stayed silent. We built in the shadows. And you mistook our patience for weakness." The signal echoed through warships and thrones alike. "But now, you've come to our skies with weapons drawn. And we've shown restraint. That restraint ends today." Panic rippled through empires. Some tried to jam the signal. Others attempted to trace its source, but the transmission came from everywhere. Moon relays, orbital satellites, even civilian ships in interstellar space. "You came to conquer Earth. Now we rise." The last line was delivered in cold finality. The galaxy braced for war. But what followed was worse. Humanity didn't launch an invasion fleet. They unleashed change. Earth's allies, unknown until now, activated. Colonies long thought extinct sent fleets bearing Terran flags. Independent worlds declared themselves protectorates of Earth. Lost stations came online and revealed weapon caches centuries ahead of current tech. Then the gates opened. Earth's first interstellar jump gate, a device thought theoretical, activated in full view of the galaxy. From it emerged not warships, but infrastructure, terraforming arrays, Dyson-scale constructors, massive AI-managed habitats. Every empire realized what was happening. Earth wasn't just defending itself. It was building, expanding into systems no one had dared colonize, turning dead zones into strongholds, restoring lifeless planets with weather systems and growth engines. In under one cycle, Earth tripled its territory. And still, no shot was fired. Until one empire made a fatal mistake. The Kroll Consortium, desperate to salvage its slipping power, sent a fleet to intercept a Terran expansion convoy. 10 ships, all armed, all ready to kill. They didn't even reach firing range. From the shadows of a nearby asteroid field, a human dreadnought appeared. But this was no ordinary vessel. Its hull shifted with nanite skin. Its weapons array adapted in real time. Its core pulsed with an energy signature unrecognizable to even the oldest alien sensors. The Kroll fleet opened fire, and the dreadnought disappeared, reappeared behind them. And in the next instant, every Kroll ship was disabled, its crew alive but unconscious. Systems fried, weapons removed with surgical precision. Then came another message. We will not kill you, but we will take your war from you. The dreadnought vanished. The disabled ships were found drifting back toward Kroll space. Their commanders rattled into silence. From that moment on, every invasion plan was burned. Every fleet redirected. Every war table wiped clean. Earth hadn't just proven its might. It had demonstrated something far more dangerous. Control. Now, Terran ambassadors began arriving, not in military craft, but sleek diplomatic vessels with impossible shielding and peaceful AI hosts. And everywhere they went, they brought offers. We offer knowledge, medicine, growth. No vassalage. No tribute. Only one promise. Do not raise your weapons toward Earth again. Some empires accepted. Some refused. Those who refused found their economies slowly collapsing, not from attacks, but because trade shifted to Terran systems. Science, technology, even culture migrated toward Earth and its allies. The galaxy changed, not through conquest, but inevitability. At a final summit held on the edge of neutral space, hundreds of species gathered to meet with the first human delegation allowed beyond Sol. The lead ambassador, a woman named Leona Miles, stepped onto the stage in silence. She didn't wear armor. She wore a simple suit. But behind her eyes was the calm certainty of a species that had prepared for war across 10,000 years, and chose peace only because they were strong enough to afford it. She looked out over the crowd. We didn't ask for this war, she said. But now that you've come to our door, you've awakened a force you do not understand. We will not rule you. We will not enslave you. But we will not be provoked again. Then she paused, scanning the room. Because Earth is awake now, and we don't go back to sleep. The crowd said nothing. Because what could they say? The age of galactic powers had ended. The age of Earth had begun.